The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
You're listening to Be Kind, Rewind with Tim Nydell, taking you back to when movies were actually good.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
When music wasn't auto-tuned. When TV only had a few channels. And now, here's your host, Tim Nydell.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Be Kind Rewind with Tim Nydell. That's me. And if you're watching the video of this, I just waved at you. And if you're listening, I still waved, but you can't see it. Yeah, there's many ways to enjoy this podcast and the other podcasts on this channel. There is a YouTube channel. It's the Fenix Media Pop Culture Entertainment channel. Just type that in, YouTube, and you'll find it. You can watch this video and many other videos that they have to offer on there. But if you're fine with just audio, then why stop doing just audio? I don't care how you enjoy the podcast as long as you're enjoying it, you know? I'm also going to be featuring this interview on my personal YouTube channel. Just type in Tim Nydell. That's Nydell. So make sure to give it a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And while you're on the interweb, make sure to check out my personal website, timnydell.com. Follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, like I said. I've even got merch on there because I'm a loser. I got my own merch, and I'm wearing my own merch because I'm a bigger loser. It says Nydell. It's very cool, trust me. So check that out, timnydell.com. I'd really appreciate it. And for this episode, I'm taking you all the way back. I just said all. I think I just said all. I'm taking you guys all the way back to the 80s, quite possibly my favorite decade of all time, because I have the very talented Mary Stewart on the podcast today. And of course, you know her from Night of the Comet, which is easily one of my all-time favorite, guilty pleasures out there. She's also on Last Starfighter, classic movie from the 80s. And she was on Weekend at Bernie's, another classic from the 90s. And we talk about all that and more. And by more, I mean Knight Rider, because she did an episode of Knight Rider, and that show was awesome. So anyways, here is my interview with Mary Stewart. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What kind of things were you interested in when you were younger?
Well, let's see. I got to get into like this mind space of this thing because I've been running around all morning and then I'm late and I'm like, and then rushing down here to this room. What was I interested in when I was younger? Well, I had two older brothers. So one of my main goals in life was to keep up with them, but they weren't that interested. They were always like, I was the little girl. So it was always like the boys went off and did their own thing. I tried as hard as I could to keep up with them, but had trouble doing that. My family is pretty animated and I remember friends would come over to our house and there was always somebody singing at the top of their lungs in my house, of the kids, not necessarily my parents. And they thought that was really strange. And I was like, that's perfectly normal in my house. So I was always surrounded by kind of this animated, lively, almost performance-like singing, and just, always the conversations at the dinner table were very animated. And my dad, I come from a very academic family, but I watched a lecture of my dad's one time and I'm like, I see where I get it from, because he was a big performer when he was, lecturing. And and I used to love as a kid, like if I was alone in the house after school, just putting on a record when there were just records at that time. And I memorized every song on the album and would sing it at the top of my lungs, I remember when I was really young, on Sundays, we would always have a Sunday brunch. And like every Sunday, my mother would make pancakes or waffles or French toast or something like that. And it would always be like around 10 or 11. And my dad would put music on in the living room when we could hear it as we were eating. And one day he put on the Beatles. And we were just like, what the heck? Because up to that time, it was folk music and, Burl Ives and things that that nature, or classical music. And all of a sudden, Rubber Soul was playing. And so that was my sort of introduction into rock and roll. It was pretty harmless, soft rock and roll, but oh boy, I got my hands on that record and literally memorized every song on that. And of course, from there, I became a huge Beatles fan. So music was always a huge part of my life. Art. My dad is an incredible artist. My mother, like I said, I came from this academic background, and my brothers were both honor students and all this other stuff. And I was literally like, yeah, I hate school. And I like to think it's because I was bored. I was so smart that I was bored. That's debatable. But my mother kept introducing me to new things, like when I was very young, ballet, which I hated because it was too regimented and I found it so boring. And then gymnastics. And at one point she had me taking an art class with, oil painting. And I enjoyed it. It was okay. But I really found my niche when I was about 14. My mother kind of tricked me into going to this dance class, this jazz dance class that was opening up in my hometown. And I was so mad at her. I was like, I hate dance. I did the ballet thing. And somehow she got me to go. And I said, well, I'll do one class, but then I'm never going to do it again. And I get into this class and it just felt like home to me. And also it helped that the dance teacher was very super cool. And she played all this really funky 70s, very hit music. So it made it much more appealing, but I just felt like, yes, this is what I want.
What kind of dance was it? What kind of dance was it?
It was jazz dance, sort of modern jazz. Yeah. So that became my passion until I graduated from high school. And then I decided to pursue it. And I ended up in London at a performing arts school where dance was sort of the prevalent thing. But we also took acting classes and singing classes and every kind of performing arts classes you can think of. So, kind of unintentionally, I sort of created this wonderful foundation for myself, which served me well, later on.
So, and that's when you kind of chose, I guess, acting over your first love of dance. Is that right?
Well, yes, but that was by chance because I was in London and the person who ran the dance school that I went to for all those years also created a dance company called Synergy, and we toured throughout Canada and throughout Europe and the Middle East. We were a professional dance company. She knew I was going off to London, she said, just take advantage of every situation that you can if any auditions come up or anything like that. So I found out about this dance audition for a movie. It was a rock musical. I thought I'll just go to this audition because I've never been to one of these kind of cattle call auditions. So I went along to that, and the director kind of pulled me out of the group and asked me if I could act. And I said, yeah. I'm not going to say, I'm sorry, no. So he had me read for the lead role of this movie, and I ended up getting it. So that was kind of my bizarro transition into acting.
Behold, my precious. Ooh, yeah, let me tell you something right here. It's the Loot Crate subscription box, yeah, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate, the Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude! Cowabunga!
To the Loot Gaming video game box. Woohoo! Yee-hoo!
Loot Crate Horror Box. What's with kids today, huh?
Wowzers! With crates starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors.
To get your geek on, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIXmedia.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a Loot Crate, dig it?
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart and don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
And I did this movie, and really, it sort of what served me well was I didn't have this dramatic intention and need to become some actress. I was like, this is cool. I'm gonna go with this flow now, and much to my surprise, getting a lead role in a feature film gives you a lot of cred. And it's kind of snowballed from there. I eventually ended up in LA, and that's when I started really taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, this is something I'm really going to go for.
Wow. I mean, look at you. Isn't
that weird?
Right place, right time.
Right. I know. I mean, that's part of this business, though. It's like being in the right place at the right time. It's so much luck involved.
Yep.
It's tough that way because it's great to have incredible talent, but there's so much more. And especially nowadays, it's really such a personal business. There's so much you can do on your own with the internet and all that other stuff.
Absolutely.
And you really need to get involved in that end of things.
Yeah.
But for me, getting into the business, it was just a whole lot of luck and being in a place where I was kind of allowing the situation to unfold. Some people might have been too nervous or whatever. I was young, I was naive, and I was like, cool, I'll do that now. So I was lucky. that way.
I was going through your IMDb earlier, and I saw you're on Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone in 1981. So that would have been super early in your career then.
It was after I'd done, the first movie I did was called The Apple. And from the Apple. It was around Christmas time, so I went home for Christmas. I ended up doing another movie in Canada while I was home locally, like in Edmonton. A friend of mine was a casting director, a local casting director, and she cast me in this movie called Powderheads, which was a ski comedy, pretty weird movie. But then I went back to London because I kind of acquired an agent there, a theatrical agent, and I also wanted to go back to dance and see what would happen. I'd sort of established myself in London, put it that way. So I went back to London, and I had this audition with Sylvester Stallone.
Wow!
At that point, it was of Rocky fame, and there was a few girls who were all sort of standing there going, "Oh my God!" Anyway, I ended up getting this little role in Nighthawks. I think it's fairly early on in the movie. It's in London. I play this sort of perfume sales girl in this department store, and Rutger Hauer comes up and sort of is kind of very seductively asking me about perfumes as he's shoving a bomb under my counter. And so it's a small role. I die early, but it makes him look so evil because I'm so young and innocent. And oh my gosh, Rutger Hauer scared the crap out of me because, I was new in this acting thing, and I was like, this man really hates me, and I'm scared of him. Because he stayed in character.
So he's a method actor then, okay.
I guess I didn't say 3 words to him except the dialogue because he scared the crap out of me. And also he wasn't like, so my name's Rutger, it was just like, he came in, he did his role, and then he left, and I was just like, holy shit, what was that? I was so young and naive, it was an interesting experience. I had talked to Sly a little bit, he was an interesting character, but it was fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then I recently rewatched your episode of Knight Rider because...
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
How did you find that? Where was that?
It was it wasn't Hulu. I just typed it on Roku TV. I just typed in Knight Rider, and it gave me all the options to watch it. And one of them was a free way to watch it. I don't remember. I think it was just the NBC app. And not Peacock, but just NBC.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's on there. It's on there. I can send you a link.
I've got to find that one. Yeah, send me the link.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
I believe that may have been my second job in LA.
Wow.
The first one was called, what was it called? You've got my IMDb up there. It was a show. I know that my character was named Daisy. And it was Mr. Merlin? Mr. Merlin? What was that?
Daisy, Mr. Merlin. Mr. Merlin, yep.
Mr. Merlin, which was a short-lived series. And I remember getting cast in that going, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Because it was also my first television thing. I was just scared out of my brain in that one. I was just so nervous because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then Knight Rider was probably the second thing I did. And that was more fun. Hoff, David Hasselhoff was super, super cute and super nice to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And everybody was super nice on that show. It was.
You got to sit, you were able to sit in kit. I mean, who can say they did that,
I know. I was really, well, of course, we all knew Knight Rider by that time. And that was really fun to see how they figured all that stuff out. And yeah, that was probably one of the highlights of doing that show. Aside from David Hasselhoff, who was very cute.
Yeah. Was it a dummy car, or was it a true car that you sat in, or what was it?
It was a real car, yeah. So do I have to give away the secret? Because I can tell you how it was.
I would love to hear the secret. Man, I love Knight Rider.
Yeah, Knight Rider was great. The drag is when you give away the secret, then you watch for it every time. So I don't know if I should give it away now.
I want to hear the secret.
What do you give me?
I'll give you the link to the episode.
Oh, oh my God! There's some blackmail going on here. And so what they do, so in the driver's seat, it's a bucket seat, right, with a high back, and there's actually somebody sitting in the bucket seat. It's kind of wide, and they have sort of at the back of the headrest. They can see through it, so they drive it that way somehow.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
isn't that cool?
That is cool because I never quite understood how they did that. So thank you.
That's how they did it. So it was, you will send me the link.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link. That is really cool.
So it really was a car. Yeah. And somebody really was, it really functioned, and it did all the talking and the flashing and all that stuff. It was fun. It was really super fun to be in the show that I was very familiar with. Yeah. And it's very Hollywood, for one of my very first shows there.
Let's talk about one of my favorites. Ever since I don't know how old I was. I think I was 6 when I saw Night of the Comet, and it was a favorite of mine to go to because it wasn't truly a horror movie. You know what I mean? It was fun. Mm-hmm. I was able to laugh at a lot of the scenes when I was a kid, and I remember one time my dad and brother and I were camping, and I was rushing them to get home because Night of the Comet was going to be on TV that night. And I wanted to watch it. I was going to set the VCR this time so I could record it, so I can have it permanently. Nice. So that's my little behind the scenes of the movie. I love Night of the Comet. So tell me about that. Was that just a basic audition for Night of the Comet?
Well, I had done The Last Starfighter previous to Night of the Comet.
Yeah, they came out the same year. I was wondering how they were filmed. Which one was first?
Yeah, The Last Starfighter was first. The Last Starfighter was like in the summer, or something like the summer, and then Night of the Comet was close to Christmas. So again, you build up your resume, and I'd been on Days of Our Lives for a while, and so I had a little bit of cred by then. And I believe that I wasn't asked in for like the first level of auditions, like with the casting director or something. I came in, I believe it's been a long time, but I don't remember having a first audition, but I'm being paired with another actress and for my sister, and reading with her. And then Kelly Maroney was reading with another girl for the role of the big sister, or Reg in this case. When I was told that I got it, I thought, I was going to be, I was asked to come to the studio. They were going to do a photo session. There's photos of Kelly and I and Dad and stuff like that. So they cast us, and then they went to this photo session so that they could have it part of the props. And we showed up there, and we sort of were like, oh, you got the role. Okay. Because we were cast, when we auditioned, we were auditioning with people that were more our types.
Okay.
And so it was sort of weird that we were cast together because she's very blonde and we don't really look like sisters, but I think it worked out. I mean, a lot of siblings don't look like their siblings.
No,
so
I'm 6'4". My brother's like 5'9". So.
Oh, you're kidding me, Wowie.
I heard the other actress, this could be totally wrong, was Heather Langenkamp. Is that right, from Nightmare on Elm Street?
That's what I have read as well.
Okay.
I read.
I mean, she would have been young too. It would have been before Nightmare on Elm Street, so before she was well known.
Right. I think that she got Nightmare on Elm Street around the same time. Okay. So it was like she was up for this and that at the same time, from what I've read. But at the time, I didn't know who she was, and honestly, I didn't know after the fact either until I read that that's who it was somewhere. And I she looks like what I recall the actress looking like that I met with.
Makes sense that it probably was her.
It probably was her. Yeah. I mean, she might remember. It's terrible, isn't it? I don't know. It's terrible that I'm like, I don't know.
It's been a long time.
And like you said, she wasn't well known at that time.
No.
And then, you get busy and you go through your thing and you don't really think about the last audition or who you auditioned with and stuff.
And you probably see many audition rooms, back then, and many actresses waiting for the same role as you. So it kind of blends together over time.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see, every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
Now, tell me about the production of it. How in the world did they make LA look so empty?
Well, downtown LA on weekends and early mornings used to be, back in the 80s, empty. That's now weird. It's crazy, the construction that's going on down there for giant apartment buildings. I mean, it's starting to look like New York, downtown. But at the time it was office buildings, banks, a couple of hotels. So people would sort of come in for business meetings and then leave. There wasn't a lot of residential stuff at all. Very, very, very little. Maybe on the periphery. And however, sadly, there was a fairly large homeless community there, which it still exists. But they're trying to build up downtown LA, sort of mirroring New York in a way. My husband and I my husband's a diehard New Yorker. And I thought, well, and he doesn't like LA very much. I thought, well, let's look at apartments in downtown. Maybe he'll feel more at home. But it's still in the very early stages, and it's like these little kind of islands of residential skyscrapers, you know, and then a block away is just not a great area.
Yep.
But at that time, and we shot very early in the morning, like Christmas morning or the morning after Christmas or something like that in downtown LA, and it was empty. Wow. We didn't have, you know, the budget for like police to stop traffic or anything like that. And apparently, a little piece of trivia, there in one of the scenes where I'm on the motorcycle, you see a car kind of pull into an intersection in the background. I've actually never been able to spot it. I kind of look for it every once in a while, but because, you know, there was one person driving downtown LA. But even the very last scene in the middle of the street and the, you know, DMK pulls up and all that other stuff, it was empty. It was just completely empty.
That is so odd.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I guess
you
I
never ever do that again.
No, I never went to LA until I was probably in my 20s. So I guess I never saw it in that decade to see how empty it was in the morning. Because now, like you said, you go there at 4 o'clock in the morning and there's traffic and construction and everything.
It's crazy now. Yeah. LA is a different place than it was in the 80s. That's for sure.
Now, speaking of motorcycle, was that you driving the motorcycle or did you have a stunt double on the motorcycle?
Well, I was riding the motorcycle on the back of a trailer at one point.
Well, that counts. That counts. You're still balancing yourself.
I was sitting on it. No, I did not know how to ride a motorcycle, and motorcycles are very heavy. And you really need to know. You need to train or whatever. So yes, the motorcycle, except for the part where it's close up of me and it's kind of looking up at me, driving around and looking around, going, "What the heck?" That was on the back of a flatbed trailer. Okay. But all the other stuff was a stunt person.
Because it was very convincing. I must say, your stunt double, at least from a distance, you know, looked like you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she was great. I don't remember her name either, but no, she was wonderful. And she was like, "You ever need a stunt person? I'm here." So had I been in a position or done more movies where I did lots and lots of stunts, I definitely would have suggested her as a double. Sure. Yeah.
And what about the girls who just want to have fun scene? I'm assuming that was in a mall late at night or something.
Yes. So it used to be a very popular mall in Sherman Oaks. It was called Sherman Oaks Galleria. And they used it for other films as well, but they would shut it down for the night. And well, of course, they shut it down for the night. Whenever it closed, we would come in, and it was I don't know which store it was exactly. I forget, but yeah, we set it all up. We shot everything in one night, got in and got out. But they used it for several things, like Valley Girl famously, and I don't know, maybe Kelly's movie, what was it called? That robot movie that she did. So it's been used, a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking.
It's not.
I'm looking up right now. It says Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Valley Girl, Night of the Commando, Back to the Future Part 2, Terminator 2. I knew that one. Phantom of the Mall. Never heard of that one. Yeah, it was used a good amount of times.
Yes, it was. Yeah, but it's not there anymore. They sort of, it was an office building for a while, I think. And then now it's just been completely redone, and it's a mall again, but it's kind of outdoor. It's just a completely different place.
Oh man.
Yeah. You can't go back and reminisce there anymore, I'm afraid.
I miss the 80s though. You know, I miss those malls and all the things of the 80s, you know?
Yeah, malls can't even exist anymore.
No,
you know, all the online shopping.
Yeah, ours. I live in Montana, and ours has been doing pretty well up until COVID, and now they're filing for bankruptcy right now.
So. Yeah, it's too bad. It is. There was something sort of fun about going to the mall, but oh well. Hopefully kids are finding new and inventive things to do with their free time.
I don't think they are, though.
They're sitting at home on their little games doing all that stuff, whatever.
I got 3 girls and I got 2 teenagers, and that's what they do. And I try to get them out, and it's like pulling teeth to get them outside.
I raised a couple of kids kind of on the periphery, just before all that stuff really, really set in. And I'm so glad. I mean, my son did have one of those games. Honestly, I don't even remember what they're called. I mean, but we never got really heavily into it. Thank goodness. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's tough. I think it's tough for parents nowadays to try to keep the kids active and outdoors and you know, keeping their minds. I think there's something in a way beneficial about playing these games, you know, in some way. It exercises their brain, but yeah, it's good to have a balanced kind of.
Yeah, it's funny when I was rewatching Night of the Comet. There's that scene where you guys go outside and you look at Sam. It's like, where's the kids playing? There's no kids playing. It's Saturday morning. I'm thinking nowadays it looks like that now. You know, no kids are playing anymore.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a combination of not only just being on the internet, but also I think a lot of parents have a real fear of letting their kids just run around.
I do.
You know,
I agree with that. Yeah. We grew up in Reno, Nevada as kids, and we just ran around the city on our bikes, you know, just like on ET or something, you know, just on our bikes, riding around Reno, around the casinos.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing nowadays. Me too. I remember, well, I was a little bit older, but I guess in high school, but I would stay out all night and come. I remember one of the greatest feelings somehow. And I was a good kid. So my parents somehow trusted me. I don't know why, but I'd be out all night long the summer after high school or something, or in between grade 11 and 12. And, you know, running home as the sun was rising, I just felt, I loved that feeling. It was just like this feeling of, yeah, but kids don't do that anymore, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let my kids do that nowadays, you know, back then maybe, but no, I was the same way. You know, I was a good kid, and I don't think I drank until I was like 19 or 20, you know, so I did the same thing as you, just stayed out late at night with friends and came home whenever I really wanted. And my parents never really questioned it. So it was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, of course, it was like, you know, you have to be home by 11. And if I wasn't, my mother was super strict. It was like, if you're 5 past 11, she'd be like, give you hell. Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad. I feel like all of us there's so much this news cycle that's constantly going on, and every single thing that happens in the country is just blasted at you constantly. It really creates a sense of fear, which is a shame. I really try to encourage my family, my kids. You can't live in fear, you know.
Exactly.
Did I freeze?
What's that?
I said, did I freeze? My internet is bad.
Your audio sound, the video's lagging, but the audio's been great. So that's perfectly fine.
Okay. I apologize for that. It's this place. I'm on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and the internet is not very good here.
No, it's all right. At least the audio is working great, so I don't mind that whatsoever. Let's talk a little bit about Last Starfighter. Okay, now, you said you filmed that before Night of the Comet. Was that a basic audition for Last Starfighter?
Yes, that was more basic. At the time, I was doing Days of Our Lives, so but I was auditioning for other stuff as well. You know, as I was doing Days of Our Lives, and I got this while I was still on that show. It was just a regular audition, you know, and then had a call back, and I remember I was paired with Lance, and you know, everybody from that era, you know, all the really well-known kids, the Brat Pack or whatever, auditioned for it, I think, as well. But I was paired with Lance, and we were both relatively unknown. I think he'd done Halloween.
I think it's Halloween too. Yeah, before. I think that's about it. Yeah.
One of the Halloweens. So, you know, he was great. He was like he's a very, very serious, you know, actor who wanted to be very prepared all the time and for every moment. I'm a little more of a free for all. I was just like, woohoo! But we sort of, he and I, when we were paired together, we sort of sat and talked about the characters a little bit, and then we went in and auditioned. And there was, I remember at one point they said, okay, well, just like pretend you're at the lake and you're just lying there, talking to your boyfriend and girlfriend. So we sort of made it up as we went along, lying on the floor with the director and the producers in this little room. But we had a really good chemistry, I think. And I also feel like they were interested in hiring kids that weren't as well known, so the expectation, I don't know what the mentality, maybe we were cheaper. But I think it was really great casting. And Lance and I are still very good friends today. We have such wonderful memories of that show. Of course, Lance had a lot more to do in it than I did, so he has some great stories.
Yep.
But like with working with Robert Preston, etc. But it was just a lovely experience. Nick Castle was wonderful. I mean, it really did, as cliche as this sounds, it really did feel like a labor of love. Yeah. And we all really liked each other. And it just was it was just a really nice movie to be a part of. And I remember seeing it after the fact thinking, I could actually sort of remove myself from the character and sit and enjoy the movie, which is unusual.
That would be in it, yeah.
So that was nice.
Behold my precious. Ooh, yeah, let me tell you something right here. It's the Loot Crate subscription box, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate, the Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude! Cowabunga!
To the Loot Gaming video game box.
Woohoo! Yee-hoo!
Loot Crate horror box. What's with kids today, huh?
Wowzers! With crates starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors. To get your geek on, head over to fenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIX media.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a Loot Crate, dig it?
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
I heard that initially it was going to be in the suburbs instead of the RV park that it was in. Is that right?
Apparently, I've heard that too. I don't know. The script that I got was in the trailer park. I think they wanted to make it a little bit different from like other movies of that time that did take place in suburbia.
Yeah,
you know,
and
they
like
wanted exactly. They wanted to just have something a little bit different, so it couldn't be just automatically compared to something like that. And I think it was a great choice because it makes the characters a little more humble, you know, a little more bare bones, and maybe even more relatable in a way. You know?
Yep. Yeah, I love the setting of it, and it's just a cool look how there's different like RVs on different layers of the hills. You know, it's really cool looking.
Yeah, I mean that was a real RV park, or you know, I guess it's RV park,
motorhome. I don't know.
Yeah, yes, it was a real one, but they dressed it up quite a bit. I kind of got a kick out of it. They sort of made it a little more cartoony and very, very colorful palettes and real characters, you know, in the trailer park. Trailer park, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Yep.
In the trailer park. But they did a great job, I thought. And then, you know, Starbright, that place on the top of the hill there still exists, apparently. Somebody just sent me a picture of that recently.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I think they did a really, really good job with the production design of that place.
I think so too. I think it kind of, to me, it stands out more than the space scenes. Honestly, at least as a kid watching it, I just liked the aesthetic look of the trailer park.
Right. Yeah, me too. I thought it was great, and it was completely different from the outer space thing. And I think they probably wanted that contrast, of course.
Yep.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah. Nick Castle, the director, did you know going into it that he was Michael Myers? Is that something that was kind of known back then?
Not to me. I don't know if other people knew of it, but I have to say that genre of film wasn't really my cup of tea anyway. So even if he had said that, I would have been like, okay, I don't know what that means. But it cracks me up.
I remember hearing Nick Castle, you know, was the Shape on Halloween, and now he's a director. It's like, what? The Shape is a director now?
Right. I guess he got that role sort of by chance. He was working on the film, and they said they needed that person.
Right,
and
I think so too.
Stick this mask on.
Yeah.
So he did it, but it cracks me up at conventions. He's so popular because of that. And I keep saying to him, you know, we'll have a table together with Lance, and I'll say, this could be anybody. I could say I was the Shape, for goodness sakes. He laughs. He's very cool and laid back. And
that's good.
But he goes to these conventions, man, and they love him because he was the first one.
Yeah,
and he hasn't been doing conventions for very long, so he gets crowds of people.
Oh man! Speaking of conventions, are you planning on doing any coming up soon? Now that the country is opening up.
I don't have. I'm not slated for any live ones coming up. I am doing something called Iconicon in mid-July, which is online.
Okay.
So look for that. I'm doing one with Kelly, and then I'm doing one a couple of days later. It's the weekend of, I don't know, it's mid-July, like the 13th or something like that.
Okay.
So Friday, I think it's Kelly, and Sunday it's Lance.
Oh.
So doing two online convention days. But in terms of live conventions, I don't have any plans yet to do one of those. No.
Well, hopefully soon, when things get safer for you, you can get out there and meet the fans. I
know. And that's one of the great things about these conventions is is getting to meet some of the people that really enjoyed your movies, you know, and it means so much. I mean, that's why we do them after all.
Exactly. Now, I do have a couple Weekend at Bernie's questions. I don't want to keep you much longer, so we'll go through them kind of quickly. I gotta say, Terry, who played Bernie, ever since I first watched it when I was like a teenager, I guess, amazed with how well he played dead. Like, I can watch the movie now and I'm trying to catch him breathing or something moving, but he doesn't budge at all.
No. Yeah, I have a funny story about that, actually. The day that they shot him, you know, being killed, you know, he's sitting at his desk and then the boys come and discover the body, right? They think he's asleep and they discover him. That was a lot of the shots with Bernie or a dummy or whatever, you know, where it has to be, where it would be impossible to be alive doing those scenes. But this one, it was just him and he's sitting there, you know, slouched over. And Ted Kotcheff, the director, you know, I was, for some reason I was there. Maybe it was, we were doing all the interiors of the house or whatever. And I was watching them shoot this scene and they finished, you know, and Ted Kotcheff didn't say cut. He just kept, he went like this very quietly. And poor Terry was sitting there, you know, and they just were watching and waiting for him to like, which eventually he did. It was kind of cruel, but it was pretty funny.
Awesome.
I don't think they did that again, but
yeah.
And that may have been the first scene where he was that they shot where he was actually dead. So they were kind of being hard on him.
Yeah,
but
he was amazing. He's the standout role of the movie, honestly.
Which is amazing because he's dead throughout the movie.
Yeah.
What a sign of a good actor. I mean, truly, you have to create a character that's dead that people want to look at. You can't just be like that. You know, you can't just be dead.
No.
And he did. He created something just in that weird little facial expression, one eyebrow was up or whatever it was he did, made you not want to take your eyes off him.
Yep, exactly.
Which is quite a commentary to his talent.
Yeah.
I just watched him. I mean, he's such a talented actor anyway. I'm going to be involved with a little film that has something to do with Friday the 13th.
Oh.
It's not a part of the official thing or anything, but it's just a short that a friend is doing. But I just watched Friday the 13th, part 7.
Yeah, that's right. He's the psychiatrist or something, right?
Yes. And he is so wonderful. I mean, just the details and the mannerisms and the expressions and everything that he does, and what he brings to the character is just wonderful and very entertaining. He's such a talented actor and a lovely guy too, by the way.
Well, that's awesome. But now that I'm an adult, I'm watching Weekend at Bernie's. All I can think of is, when should rigor mortis, set in? Shouldn't he be stiff by now after like 2 days of being dead? Especially if there's a second movie. Shouldn't he be a little stiff by the second movie?
And in the second movie, he's dancing all over the place, isn't he? Yeah, you would think, but I don't know. I guess it's, I guess it's like a theatrical choice.
Exactly.
They can do whatever they want.
So what keeps you busy these days? Anything coming up?
I have been very busy, actually. I mean, with the pandemic, it gave me a chance to really focus on this script that I've been working on with a writing partner and a producer. We've been really working hard on rewrites and whatnot, and it's been optioned by a production company in Canada.
Nice.
So that's been really occupying my downtime, which is great. Also, I want to kind of get into directing more and that the other side of the camera stuff. So they gave me an opportunity to really focus on that. I've got a play also that I'm going to direct that I've been working on. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff that I've been doing most recently. But now that things are starting to open up again, I feel like I'm auditioning all the time. I mean, it's great. People have, I guess, just sort of this backlog of projects that they're trying to get out there. So I've been auditioning for a lot of stuff for on camera, and working on this personal project of mine. So I've been keeping very, very busy. And of course, podcasts have become super popular as well. So I've been doing quite a few podcasts.
And thank you for that.
I mean, well, yeah, thank you for asking me. A Night at the Comet and The Last Starfighter and Weekend at Bernie's are, they're these retro movies that have a new life of their own. It's amazing. And also there's a lot of talk about, doing a sequel for The Last Starfighter.
Ooh, a sequel, not a reboot?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
there was talk about doing a reboot, but now it's more a sequel, which is better because Jonathan Betchell, the original writer, is involved.
Oh, nice.
I think Nick Castle is involved to a certain degree, and there's talk that Lance and I are going to come back as the parents of the next Last Starfighter.
Oh.
I haven't seen a script or anything, but even Nick has spoken publicly about it. Wow. So it's exciting. A real thing. I know. It's very, very exciting.
Well, all right. Thank you. I want to thank you so much. Huge fan of your work. This has been a pleasure and honor, and hopefully I can run into you someday at a convention.
Yes, that would be great. I would love that. We'll see. Like I said, I have nothing on the books at the moment, but I'm sure something will happen in the next little while. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll see. But I look forward to meeting you.
Same here. Thank you so much for your time.
This has been really fun.
Thanks for listening to Saturday Morning Rewind. Please check them out on Facebook and Twitter. And that's all, folks.